Hello there everyone, let's talk about add-ons today, or as they call it in Lotro, plugins. Most likely if you played an MMORPG before, or even an RPG frankly, chances are you have bumped into add-ons or modding in some form, and you know how they can alter a game in many ways and create a quality of life where there is none. Lord of the Rings Online is a fairly old title, and at this point, while the devs announced they've been working on an updated UI for the past year, there is nothing concrete about it, when it would be released, or if it will have any new features or anything like that. And while the game is perfectly playable with its base UI, there are certain add-ons or plugins that can definitely elevate your enjoyment or help you avoid potential frustrations. In this video, I'll show how plugins work and how you can install them very easily, even if you never used them before, and also list a couple of often recommended and useful plugins along with the ones I love to use personally. So first of all, installing plugins. I know a lot of people generally don't like messing with their games and files, and modding can be intimidating because of it, but the good news is that installing plugins is not only super easy for Lord of the Rings Online, actually it's pretty similar to other most common add-on managements like World of Warcraft, but Lotro also has a software that will make your life a lot easier and just turn it into a two-click walk in the park. Let me introduce you all to the Lotro plugin Compendium by Lunar Water, which is a side utility application you can download on your PC that turns plugin management into just a few clicks and help you find your favorite plugins to use for Lord of the Rings Online. If you've even dabbled in modding games before, then you might have already recognized this to be basically just a mod manager and know just how useful they can be. The link to download it is below in the description and the pinned comment, and all you have to do is basically install this application on your PC, start it up, scout through all the potential plugins supported within this app, choose the ones you like, click on them, click add, and that's it. You have your first plugin installed. This plugin compendium helps you with all the files management that plugins require, and the decisions you have to make are only whether you like a particular one or not. Perfect for those who never used add-ons before. Please note that while the plugin compendium I think has around 90% of the existing plugins supported, there are still some that require manual installation, but those are the more advanced plugins and graphical updates for the game, so you would have to place their files in your Documents, Lord of the Rings Online, then Plugins folder there by default, or the UI and then Skins folder in it in the case of skins, so the manual installation is also not too crazy. I definitely recommend using this compendium to make your life a lot easier and plugins convenient. And with that said, I think we can go straight ahead and talk about some of the basic recommended plugins that either I love to use or are usually recommended for players to use. The very first plugin I use probably the most is Item Treasury. This is an item browser plugin that lets you look through pretty much every single item in the game and see what their stats, names, or any other of their details are. But most importantly, the main function of it that I and many others use it for allows you to also click on these items and preview their looks. Yes, I pretty much use Item Treasury primarily as a fashion and outfits plugin where I can look up items I'm interested to wear with my characters and see how they look, or also just browse through a list of items and one by one check their appearance to see if I can find any new item for my wardrobe. It is an incredibly useful tool if you care about your character's fashion, and it allows you to look through all the game's items to find the perfect look for yourself and immerse yourself in the world. Next, the Deed Tracker. Deeds in Lord of the Rings Online are super important, mainly to keep your virtues leveled up for your characters, and is likely one of the main lessons for a new player not to ignore if you want to have a good time. But this also means you have to keep track of your deeds, and whenever you enter a new zone, you should be looking for which ones give virtue experience and which ones to complete. Here, the default UI isn't that helpful either. Deed Tracker is a plugin that will help you manage all your deeds on your characters and also find the ones you need. You open up Deed Tracker in-game and everything is perfectly categorized already and understandable in the first look. It will list all the available deeds per zone or activities, list you the different levels of a deed, and even summarize how many Lotro points or virtue experience the individual deeds will grant you, or the whole category itself. It will automatically track the deeds you are doing per character, so you don't have to manually tick them as you progress, unless you use this on an older character, as I believe it won't automatically update in that case. But thanks for the tracking option of it, you'll be easily checking how many deeds are left in zones and where you can squeeze in more virtue points for your characters and level up further. On to the next of my recommended plugins, it is Buff Bars. Buff Bars is a visual plugin that is pretty helpful, especially if you're using a class that has Lots of buffs or timers on yourself that you're supposed to keep track of, as the base game is once again not that helpful here either. Buff bars very simply creates a new visual interface for your existing effects on your characters and allows you to track them a lot easier, be it negative or a positive effect. It is extremely useful if you're supposed to keep your warden buffs up all the time, or you are a minstrel with all the different songs and so on and so forth, in order to see exactly when you have to reapply them and just have that visual guide there for you as a really useful crutch. Buff bars also comes with a slider that keeps track of effects disappearing from you, but I personally don't like to use it as much, so I just disable them in the plugins option. Next one is Moor Map, and this is also a really cool one. Moor Map is a custom map plugin that allows tons of customizations to it and leave notes where your gathering nodes are, where NPCs and any other important point of interest is located on your map. Best part is that this plugin is already well maintained and you can already just hop onto a map, let's say Swanfleet, and you're looking for the treasures on this map for completing the deed. They're all right there, you can go and find them. Moor Map helps you with your navigation and just generally finding your way across Middle-earth. Another really useful plugin that's usually recommended by a lot is Travel Window 2. This might be an optional add-on to use, but it's super useful for classes that gain multiple of those traveling skills such as hunters, wardens, or now mariners, who have their skill bars potentially just full of travel skills. Travel Window will create a new button on your screen that you can open, and it will list all your available travel skills in a custom inventory bag-like window and free up all your slots on your actual bars for more combat skills, definitely earning a spot as one of the most useful and good quality of life plugins. Alright, the next one is probably a must-have for anyone who has a bunch of different characters and you want to keep track of their inventory. As a bonus tip here, if you want to have more inventory space, especially for crafters, then yes, having alts just for that also works wonders. AltInventory is a plugin that allows you to track and check the inventory of all your characters, even their vaults, allowing you to properly manage all the items on your account and plan ahead when you need to trade your crafting items or, well, any item honestly. A must-have plugin for anyone who struggles with inventory management, and now you have a window where you'll see everything. Finally, there's an add-on that is once again super recommended by many, especially hardcore players, but I don't really use it yet myself, nor am I particularly a fan of these types of add-ons, but I definitely cannot deny their usefulness, and it is Combat Analysis. Combat Analysis is a DPS meter that lets you analyze your own damage performance, healing, or damage taken as usual in MMOs, and use it to improve your gameplay or find your mistakes. A core plugin or add-on for players who would like to constantly improve and push their abilities and gameplay to be better and better. There are lots of other add-ons to be found in the Compendium too that you can experiment with and find for your very own needs and purposes, but these are some of the most commonly recommended plugins, at least, that other players use. Lord of the Rings Online doesn't have the most robust API to support all kinds of crazy add-ons like in other MMOs, but hopefully this video still showed and proved that there are definitely quite a few that will make your life much easier, and the game also more fun to play, whether you're a hunter with the traveling skills or you just needed more help with inventory management. Thank you so much for tuning in for yet another video, everyone. If you watched this far, I really appreciate you, so please type Golem in the chat so I can see it. I hope it was helpful and I was able to recommend some good plugins for you. If you have any questions or even further recommendations for good plugins for others, definitely don't hesitate to share them below so everyone can see it. But with that said, if you like Lotro and Lord of the Rings in general and you fancied this video, like and subscribe for more in the future. But until then, take care everyone, and I'll see you all the next time.